a true Appalachian, I think you have to have a murder in your family.
It's true.
And in my case, I guess I'm not true, because it was an attempted murder.
Yeah, it was a murder that was attempted but not quite successful.
Yes.
And the good thing about that was that the intended victim of this plot was actually Kendra's father. And what you have to understand is that back in the 1930s, Kendra's father was married to a woman who was not Kendra's mother.
Not a nice lady.
No, and she was a woman of, let's say, rather questionable moral fiber. And she had a boyfriend, and one day the two of them concocted this plot to do away with Kendra's dad, Kenneth. And so that boyfriend hid in the barn that's still on our property today.
Yes.
And late at night he made some big commotion out in the barn, and that woman who was not Kendra's mother sent Kenneth, Kendra's dad, out there to the barn to see what was going on. And when Kenneth got out there to the barn, that boyfriend jumped out and smacked him in the back of the head and knocked him unconscious, and they thought they'd killed him.
And they put him in a feed sack with a bunch of rocks. They put him in the back of their Model T. And they were going to take him 2 counties away and throw him into the strip mine pit.
Yep.
Oh.
So, as they were doing this, it started to thunder and it started to storm. So there was this storm coming. And they had to head in towards where this storm was coming from. And so as they went farther and farther, the storm came towards them, and they couldn't get as far as they wanted to. The road's all washed out.
And they were driving an old Model T Ford, and it had real narrow tires, and the road washed out, and they weren't able to get there. So they finally just decided they'd just throw him out of the vehicle, and he rolled down a hill and kind of fetched up next to a tree. And before too long, he regained consciousness, and he cut his way out of that feed sack and kind of followed that little stream, that little drawback to someplace
And
that...
they brought him home, and he divorced his first wife.
That's right. And then years later, he used to love to sit out on the front porch of the old homestead there on the farm and just watch those storms come up the holler and pass over the house. And Kendra and I just really liked that story. So we wrote a tune about it called Storm on the Mountain.